Time heals all wounds, or does it? Tonight, on The Keeper, we will read Paramorpathy, a horror story by Nicholas Leonard. I went through a disfiguring transformation the day that I found out she was cheating on me. I was 23 years old. We had been in a relationship for almost 3 years, having lived together in New York for a year and 7 months during that time. I got home early from work one day and walked straight into it. The scene where nudity becomes nakedness. What once was beautiful becomes grotesque and perverted. All grace is lost in that one bad dream moment. I started stepping back while she stammered and while she just stood there. I hurried out of the apartment, rushed back down onto the boulevard, and started trying to salvage myself out there. Perhaps this is when my whole entire soul became eclipsed by whatever I was morphing into. Struggling to take in a worthwhile breath, I tried my best not to knock over into any other pedestrians before seeking the only solace I thought I'd find, which was the entrance to the subway level. See, I had to move so fast to outrun the tremor, the trembling, the earthquake seizing control of my body. Down below, I became a monster. Why is it that the victim of a crime suffers more than the perpetrator? That the cheater suffers so much less than the faithful one? Because I loved so much, and loved so deeply and honestly, I suffered this morose metamorphosis. I was so heartbroken that my body could do no other thing but change. I know just what change took place, and what the finished product was because I was able to behold myself in the cell when police officers came down to get me, for I had been quite the disturbance down below. My nose lifted up and assumed a piggish countenance. My teeth shifted and rearranged within my gums. My hair thinned and hairline receded. My forehead swelled forwards ever so slightly. My eyes became bordered in black as the blood beneath my skin changed to tarry colors in response to the injury of my heart. I howled as my cheekbones cracked up a couple of degrees. I was squirming on the subway platform, crying. I became hideous, and for the time, I was the ugliest man on earth. By the time I calmed down and came into the jail cell, I didn't give a damn about how deformed I had become. Life was a loveless thing now, and looks had no purpose for me. My disfigurement fit my feelings. During my brief stint in the cell, a drunkard sobered up upon seeing me and started banging on the bars, demanding to be let out. The cops did so, constraining him outside instead of in the cell. And then a purse snatcher in a red hoodie was brought to the cell, who panicked when he saw me sitting on the mattress bench within. Finding some humanity within themselves, the cops allowed the criminal to be constrained outside as well. This caused an upset with their chief, who calmed upon coming into the room and seeing my face. He understood, nodded, and didn't say anything more. I was only released when my drug test came back negative. I passed a psychological screening, which was a little too easy to pass, and was let back out into the city. I wanted her to see how I had deformed, but all that was left in our apartment was a note. We argued over text. I had half a mind to send her a selfie, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I packed my stuff and left, telling her to keep the apartment and to invite as many men over as she wanted. Doctors could not explain it. I was referred from specialist to specialist. Latex fingers on my face. I thought it would be the final human touch I ever felt. A cold, sterile, and routine ritual. They would feel my thyroid, take my blood pressure, ask me embarrassing questions which had embarrassing answers. I had nightmares about my ex. I breathed through my mouth all throughout these examinations because of how disarranged my teeth had become. How useless was my upturned pig nose. They could not believe I was 23 years old. They tried in vain to mask their pity with the professionalism they had learned in medical school. But it didn't work. When the people that are supposed to help you look at you so hopelessly, it makes you realize you will stay that way forever. It was the most hideous year of my life, but I somehow moved on, and my face somehow found its way gradually back to how it was before. The reversal took months, and I didn't even notice it was happening until probably after a couple of weeks from when it started to change back. It wasn't medicine, but time which set my facial features back into place. It was with frightful relief that I got up some nights to go to the bathroom, where I happened to see myself in the mirror and see I was becoming me again, becoming normal again, becoming handsome again. How panicked I became when I thought it was a dream until the coffee met me in the morning. My hairline dropped back down. My hair faded from silver and back to its former solar color, and it became full again. It was even as fluffy after showers like it used to be. My nose, for a moment, only looked broken upwards before crawling back down. The detail that took the longest to vanish were the black borders of my eyes. Yes, they dimmed to gray, but they remained the longest. The eyes are the windows to the soul. She texted me once to check on me while I was halfway back to handsome, and I responded cordially but indifferently. I didn't ask for any updates on her life as she had asked me. I didn't even tell her I had moved to a secluded area of Vermont. I just said that I was fine. I wasn't surprised by her lack of apology. We never texted again, thank God. I started picking myself up. I got a job as a manager at a little ice cream shop during the summer. I could tell the parents were wary of me because of my sleepy look, but I maintained a harmless disposition. And by the end of the summer, some of the single moms even started looking at me differently. It puzzled me until I remembered how I used to look before, how I was starting to look again. I was accustomed to catching the occasional eye before, but it was different now, for I had learned to live with people trying to hide their disgust. I felt undeserving of any kind of classroom-style glance or grace. I didn't think I was completely handsome, but I guess I was handsome enough. When the ice cream shop closed for fall, I moved to Massachusetts for another job I had gotten. The year ended and I returned to normal. Everything returned to normal. I was myself again. I had a dentist appointment where the dentist thanked me for brushing my teeth. That's it? I stammered from the dental chair. They nodded. Were my teeth normal again? Just keep flossing, they said. I was as happy as Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas morning, but I was aware to try to mask it lest I seem maniacally enthusiastic. I thanked them and left, walking out of the dentist like a man who won $1 million. I worked and worked. Life went by normally until life bloomed when I met Christina, a veterinarian in her late 20s. We were actually the same age, 27. She was cheerful. She was kind. Her biggest vice was Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Sometimes she had scratches on her face and hands, but she never ended a shift without a smile, for she had helped whatever spastic cat that scratched her. She dealt with mean dogs too, and even the occasional tarantula, but she found the human in me and I found the human in her, and this Adam and Eve locket clicked within us. I thought she looked radiant in her dark blue scrubs. I found her smile so cloud-like, as it was an airy thing, like those scattered giggles in the summer sky. She treated me like a good dog sometimes, which is how men want to be treated. She played with my hair in a way that relayed that she would never twirl or touch somebody else's hair again. She particularly liked my hair most once it dried after a shower. She called me her baby chicken because of how much it resembled the feathers of a chick. She even waited outside the bathroom one time to take pictures of me after I finished drying and combing my hair. I chased her throughout the house after the camera flash, hurrying after her laughter, chasing her around the kitchen table and eventually catching her.
No.
She laughed as I carried her off into the living room by her waist. I put her down on the couch and tickled her out of retribution. She thrashed and cackled. I relented only when she started sounding out of breath, my favorite sound in the world. In the end, she was the one who had won the war despite losing the tickle fight, for my hair was still yellow and fluffy, and she got to look at it. It only seemed fitting to propose to the woman who made me able to love again and to be loved again. I had become so frightful that I'd never be able to be loved. Clearly there had been something wrong with me, for my ex to have sought something else in 24 different men. But here was Christina, with fathomless reassurance in her brown eyes. One look from her was enough to make me feel safe, and I felt safe. She said yes. She was ecstatic, and I felt some happy tears on my shoulder as we hugged, and she said,
"Yes. Yes, I will marry you."
I was loved. It was how she clung to me when sleep became her. It was in the way her eyes read my face in social settings. It was how she held my hand with both of her hands. It was how she introduced me to her friends and family, and how I managed to make her friends laugh whenever they came over for cake and wine night on Fridays. We were a couple, and we were in love. Love was a yellow thing from my hair to the streetlights outside, to the lemon-flavored cakes Christina used to bake. I'd say the cakes we baked, but she did most of the work while I stood around like a big dope. She got marshmallow peeps once, one Easter, and teased me with them. But love was blue, too, like her scrubs. We had a deep, dark blue at the beach on the weekends, where we chased each other on the sand. Our bed sheets were blue. It seemed those slow-motion moments happened at just perfect speed, while seagulls rushed and streetlights froze in time. And so the moment came. I was proper and well-groomed in my suit, with a white corsage. The bridesmaids had yellow dresses, and groomsmen had yellow ties. I was nervous, standing up there of course, but I was so excited to see her emerge from the sea of white sunlight beyond the open church foyer. I knew she would look beautiful, bashful, and graceful coming down the aisle. Oh, how the wooden colors of the pews almost match her brown eyes and hair. How the dress would be like a sheet of sunlight and moonlight on her body. My soul was incredibly full. The organ started. The sea of white sunlight beyond the foyer became disrupted by a silhouette. She moved in rhythm with the organ music. I took a deep breath. I was in love. Somebody loved me, and I knew Christina loved me just as I loved her. To relieve myself of a sputter of nerves, I looked into the crowded pews. My mother was stalwart and tried appearing patient, but that was only because she was trying too hard not to cry. My father, with his big glasses on, beamed up at me with a smile so goofy that it almost activated an old middle school embarrassment within me. Christina's family, as well as mine, were turning in their seats to get a good look at the bride. How odd it must have been for her nieces and nephews to see their aunt dressed like a Disney princess. I saw my grandmother, who was crying, dabbing her eyes, and then I saw my bride approaching, a bouquet at her waist. She tilted her head so slightly that only I could have perceived the gesture, pairing this with a happy pout and a knowing look. She looked beautiful. Her hair was back in a braided bun. The dress was strapless and seemed to only refrain from falling down her out of some kind of cosmic service to her body. I felt a smile twitch. I didn't mean to smile at all. How was the groom supposed to look? Oh, but I gave up and smiled. She neared. I felt it when I was trying to take a secretive deep breath as her beauty made me breathless again. What was it? A panicky feeling? No. An instant paralytic? No. I gulped. She reached the altar and faced me. The organ stopped. Absolute silence. The priest let us share a moment of recognition via eye contact before he started speaking. But something was wrong. She looked so beautiful and happy looking at me. What was wrong? Fear flowed through me like black magma, instantly cooling and hardening in its wake, turning everything within me black, black, black. She was beautiful and smiling. She was the person which hummingbirds would slow down around. She was the person who had defeated all my fears my last relationship had instilled. She was my savior, my rescuer. And still, my nose began to twitch as if desperate to smell heaven. My left eyelid twitched as well. I started stepping backwards from the altar. And now, whatever alarm that had been carbonating within me was poured out into her face. I continued stepping away, holding my hand to my face. She said my name. Said it again, but with more worry, but I had to get away. I knew what was happening, but I didn't know why. I rushed down the aisle covering my face. I ran through the foyer and out into the sunlight down the church steps. I sensed people from within were getting up to run after me. I could hear her calling out my name. God, she was probably picking up her dress and shimmying back down the aisle as fast as her wedding dress would allow. I ran through the parking lot. It was happening. A blunt, bruising sensation in my eyes. I felt my teeth pushing my gums as though it was chewed bubblegum instead of hard flesh. I winced with pain, but I hurried out into the street. A car must have swerved, but I wasn't looking. I was in pain, and she was calling out to me. I looked over my shoulder and saw her leading the chase. All our friends and family behind her. My hair ripped to the back of my scalp. It was so sunny out. Everyone would see. She cried my name, but I kept running. Did I growl or scream? God, how desperately and panicked she called my name. I had no other choice but to ignore her and keep running. My nose lifted up, nostrils more open than ever. My cheeks sank in as my cheekbones lifted as well. I outran and lost my bride and family eventually, finding the cemetery a suitable place to hide in the meantime, while I felt the lawn the way someone feels the floor for their glasses. As to why it happened again on what should have been the happiest day of my life, while my true love looked at me, I don't know why. I was over it. I was healed. I had regained my normal looks. Years had passed. I even found a love that was safer and more fulfilling than my one in New York, in a church of all places, on our wedding. I wonder if she saw. I hope she didn't see. As for when it'll get back to normal, I'm not sure, but I've cowered away from her for far too long. It's been months. She doesn't know why I ran away, and I hope she doesn't. I'm too panicked to finish this. I want to text her, but I know she must hate me now. And besides, even if she did want to meet and talk things over, I still look like this. And I'll probably possess this unfortunate face for quite some time. I want to thank Whispering Scream for voicing Christina. I've put links to her channel in the description. She has some fantastic videos that I highly suggest you guys check out. I also want to thank Nicholas Leonard for supplying the story that we read tonight. On his channel, you can find even more of his stories narrated by a selection of different YouTubers.